Owen, with hope, faith, and courage. Here you go, and you experience strength and hope. Over to you, Owen.
Thank you, Beck. Good evening, everyone. My name's Owen, and I'm a grateful recovered addict. I never thought I'd ever get to say that ever. Um, Recovered. What does recovered mean to me? I recovered from a hopeless state of mind and body, and wow, am I grateful for that. I'm also grateful for Bex for asking me to be of service, and it's nice to hear her partner on there. Daz is a very good friend of mine. I love that man to bits. It's nice to see Lee W on there as well. I've not seen him in a while. But it's just really nice to be on a meeting. Do you know what? Yeah, as we're reading, we can recover, and it says about the God thing and that. It was funny because just the other day I was asking God. I'm a born again Christian, and I was asking God to give me something to help me control my language. And that very same day, Bex asked me to be of service on this meeting. And then I come on the meeting, they say it's a child friendly meeting or a family friendly meeting, sorry. And then I get this message. Oh, I forgot to tell you, no swearing. And then it comes up in the reminders. God has a weird way of working. So, yeah, a little bit about myself. Um, I come from I don't want to call it a top. Well, I come from a crazy family. My mum was a drinker. My dad was a drinker. Left me when I was three. I threw my mum drinking. I had like 8 different dads in 7 days. You know, one of them kind of houses. And whoever really fit the bill really for my mum, or whoever had the most alcohol was the one that would be waking up in my mum's bed. You know, and I don't say that trying to slag my mum off. You know, I've made amends to my mum and we've got over all that stuff. But it's just where I'm from, you know. And since being a kid, I've always ran on fear, and my fear really started, you know. I think as a child, I don't think you understand fear really, do you? Until you get to about 6 or 7, and then you start, that you're scared of spiders, and that you're scared of the dog that's running around wild on the estate, and that you're scared of your mum when she's telling you to get in now because your tea's going to go cold and that, or you're going to get a thick ear and that, that you're scared of that. But I didn't know that I would end up being scared of male adults. Um, I didn't know that I would be scared of falling asleep. I didn't know that I'd be scared of the dark. I didn't know that I'd be scared of opening up to my mum. I didn't know that I would be scared of going home after school. I didn't know I would be scared of wetting the bed. Um, the list could go on and on and on. When I was a child, one of my mum's drunken partners was an abuser of mine. He just he was I wasn't um well, I would just wake up with DNA all over me, and that, we don't need to go into the ins and outs of it. It's not why I'm an addict. The lifestyle that my mum gave me when I was a kid isn't the reason why I'm an addict. But once I took a drug, it numbed all that out. So once I took one, I obsessed on it. Then I would take it, and then the phenomenon of craving would kick in, and I'd want more, and I'd want more, and I'd want more. So I took my first drug when I was 12 years old. Um, that was amphetamine. That was the first ever drug that I ever took, and I enjoyed it. And I'd been assaulted by my mum, and I had a big cut in my head. I didn't want to go home, and it made me stay awake, and it gave me confidence. I could talk to people, and I could stay awake all night, and I didn't have to go home. And I didn't have to worry about waking up with a fully grown adult in my bed, and I didn't have to worry about telling my mum about this and my mum not believing me and all this stuff. I didn't have to worry about that, and I had to grow up pretty quick. And by the time I was 14, I was an IV user. I'm aware it's family friendly. I have to keep reminding myself of that, so I might say it a few times. Um, and and life moved pretty quick for me. I had to be stealing. If I wanted the best trainers, if one of my friends had the best trainers, I hung around with the older kids. And if I wanted the best trainers, I would have to go out stealing to get mine. If my little brother wanted the best school shoes, the Rockports for school, I would have to go out and I would have to steal and I would have to provide for him as well. And my life just went on a mad spiral. And by the time I was 14, I was an IV user at a school, in the school toilets. And it was just no life for a kid. The police was always at the door. And I suppose I've heard it in the rooms before, and they say that your life pauses when you start using and when you start drinking. And when it becomes an issue, it pauses from then. And even sometimes now I can resort back to being that 12-year-old child. If I don't get my own way, I can resort back to being that kid and I'll slam a door and I'll stamp my feet and I'll sit with my arms crossed, my bottom lips out, and I can sulk. Because I don't know how to deal with life and life's terms. And that's the truth. Because I just masked it with layer upon layer of masks with regards to drugs. Through that, me not being around my mum and that, and through the type of drugs that I would choose to use and being away from home, I'd be working on the fair, and I met this woman. I was 14 years old. She was 27, married with 3 kids. We had our first daughter, and I wasn't the best partner. I don't want to go too deep into it. Like I keep saying, it's a family-friendly meeting, and I don't want any women to get upset. But I wasn't a very nice partner, and I've always been like that up until about 2010. So I've had 3 partners, and I've got 5 beautiful daughters and 1 beautiful son who's actually deceased. We don't need to go into how that happened, so we'll not go there. But 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 I just couldn't seem to break this cycle of using all the time, and I would pick on. How can I say this without it offending anyone? I would go for an older woman trying to get a mother figure. I would manipulate the older woman to be an enabler because she had family child benefits, and I would manipulate them for sex. And it's always happened. So all my partners have been like way older than me, 10, 13, 14 years older than me. And these are the things that I was trying to fulfill all the way through my life. But I didn't have the confidence unless I was using. Drink for me didn't start till I was about 21. I've always said that I didn't have a problem with it up until I came into the rooms. I never seen it as a problem because my choice was the drugs. My drug of choice was more. If you had it, I would take it. I would go at any lengths to get it, you know. And when my son passed away, I was 18 years old, and um, I wanted to be with him, and I couldn't deal with life for the reasons why he passed. And like I said, I'm not going to go into that. Close friends of mine know, and that's enough for me. And I just wanted to be with him, so I used 3 bags of heroin, trying to kill myself. Enjoyed it that much that when they brought me round in the hospital, I just ripped all the cannulas out, and yeah, I became a heroin addict. I lost everything. I burnt everything to the ground. If it was in my path, it was being took. If it was a human, it was being destroyed. If it was a human that loved me, wow, I can get quite emotional sometimes when I think back, especially my own children. You know, I would have stepped over them. I did step over them. What am I talking about? I did step over them to use. I did push them out of the way. I did choose drugs over them. Someone said to me just the other day, I was talking to them about something else, and they said, Owen, this is the question you need to ask this person. So I'm like, go on. Would you take a bullet for your child? I was like, right. I said, right. He said, well, I'll ask you the question, Owen, would you take a bullet for your child? I said, yeah, of course I would, in a heartbeat. I'm doing the main chair. I'm doing the chair. I said, yeah, sorry, I live in a recovery house. I said, yeah, in a heartbeat. Of course I would take a bullet for my children. Even though they don't talk to me, I would still do that. And he said, but would you put the needles down for them? And my heart sank. My heart sank. And I sat there and I cried. And he said, what are you crying for? I said, because no one's ever put it to me like that before. I'm sorry about that interruption. It's because no one's ever put it to me like that before. You know, I've been through the book. I've got God in my life. And we do forget about the wreckage of the past and the suffering children and the despairing wives. We forget about all that. And it hit me really hard. And I had to do some serious work around it. And the reality of that, it was like I'd had my breaking point again. You know, I think people, we have a rock bottom. My rock bottom seems to have like trapdoor after trapdoor after trapdoor. I didn't need to dig. I was already in the hole. It just kept on opening, opening, opening. And I always believed that some people have to go through that to get into the rooms to get recovery. I'm one of them people. I came into the rooms in 2021 and I'm just 9 months in next Monday. So a week today, I'm 9 months. God forbid that I get there. So yeah, we have these rock bottoms, but do we ever fully surrender to our innermost self? Do we ever sit there and say, I'm done, but say it from the heart? Because that's what happened to me. I have mental health issues. I've tried to commit suicide umpteen times in prison. I've swallowed razor blades. I've tried to hang myself. I've tried to take overdoses. I've tried to jump off a bridge. And the one thing that killed me the most was on the 23rd of May last year, my daughter came back into my life. I hadn't seen her for 20 years. I hadn't spoken to her for 14 years. And I'm not trying to get any sympathy votes or anything. I'm just explaining to you when I fully surrendered to my innermost self. And she said, Owen, I need to talk to you. So I was like, okay, ring me. She rang me. She said, I'm going through something that I think you've been through. Now, I just told you that my son passed away. So now my daughter's on the phone telling me that my grandchild had passed away. And I was in the middle of this mad relapse at the time. And I had copious amounts of alcohol, cannabis, crack. I'm whispering because it's a family friendly meeting. That's how conscious I am of it. And this is where my head was. My head was like, get off the phone. I need to use. Now, this is my daughter. I've used on the back. I've not seen her for so long, for so many years. And it got that bad that I was smashing up crack and trying to sniff it because she wouldn't get off the phone because she was heartbroken. She gets off the phone. I fell to my knees, and this is where I fully surrendered to me and myself. And for the first time ever in my whole entire life, I mean, I've prayed in the prison cells. I've prayed for drugs to drop from the sky. Please, God, help me do this. I need something to stop me from rattling. And it never happened, but I prayed from my heart this time. And I just said, please, God, let this stop. And I don't know where the strength comes from. I get up, get all the stuff together. I take it to my next door neighbour. I come back into my bedroom. I fall asleep crying. I wake up in the morning. The first thing that I do, I get back on my knees and I'm praying again. But this time I'm praying with determination. I'm praying with the utmost love for a higher power. What I'm praying to, I don't know. I had to fake it till I make it. And then I gets on this meeting, and you couldn't share unless you'd been past the step 5. And I wanted, oh God, I got this feeling inside me because I wanted everyone to know. I wanted to get the sympathy votes. I wanted people to be, oh, Owen, come here, pat on the back, come on, love, let's listen. I wanted to tell my story. But what I did was I hit my knees and I prayed again and I asked God to let me stay there. And he presented me with this sponsor. And he was my sponsor for 7 days. But in them 7 days, I started putting the action in. And he said to me, the first thing he said to me was, "Do you understand what faith without works is dead means?" And I was like, "No." He said, "So if I've got a shovel, I've got faith I can dig a hole with that shovel. But if I just put it in my garden, sit in my deck chair, have a fag and a brew, it's not going to dig a hole. I have to put the action in. Faith without work is dead, Owen. Are you willing to go to any lengths to save your own life?" I went, "I'll ring you back in a minute." I prayed, I rang him back and I said, "Yeah." He was only my sponsor for 7 days. His story, not mine. And then I got presented with this other guy who actually put my hand in God's hand. And I am so grateful for him for that. We get into the book, we start doing the book work now. I've said that I've been in the book before. Someone's just going to have to give us a little flash as well for time because my phone doesn't do that jumping from screen to screen, sorry. So I said I've been in the book before, and like my step four is like 30 pages, 10 resentments. The lifestyle that I've had, it should be over 100. But I honestly believe that I had to do it in 4 different bets to get it all out. So this time we get to step 4. I've surrendered. I'm willing to do anything. And my step 4 is like that. So we're doing step 4. We get all the way through the steps, and when it comes to writing the letters to yourself from them, so it gets to my son, and in fact, my good friend who was actually here on this meeting, he was actually here when I was writing that letter. I'm so grateful that he was. You know, you are. In fact, you just sent me a message, and I had to write this letter, and again, I felt this breaking thing inside me, and I had to start this letter off, "Dear Daddy, I'm writing this from the grave," you know. And I don't say that for sympathy. I say that for people to just to know just what damage it is that we're doing to ourselves and to other people out there, you know, because I don't stop breaking me. Something comes up and I keep breaking, I keep breaking, I keep breaking, and I write these letters. I get through the book, and I've had my spiritual awakening, and I'm thinking to myself now, everything's good. I'm speaking to my daughter. I speak to her every day, but I've got another 4 daughters. I've got another 5 grandchildren that I'm not seeing yet. And I've got to deal with the death of anniversary of my son, which was on the 4th of February, which, may I admit, was the first time in 28 years that I got through it sober. So because I'm in the program and I'm doing everything that I'm meant to do, I've been baptized. I go to church. I pray endlessly. My prayer game is high, and this is what God did for me. He. I'll try and say this without crying. So on the 4th of February, I waked up. My friend's daughter's just got a flat, so I'm going to decorate it. So my daughter rings me. "Hi, Dad, you all right?" I said, "Yeah, I love you." She said, "What are you doing today? I know it's Callum's anniversary." I said, "Oh, I'm going to go and paint Mickey's daughter's flat." She was like, "What a beautiful person you've turned into. Look what God's got you doing. You're going to paint another child's flat on the day of your son's anniversary. That's beautiful, that." I haven't seen Chloe since we've been talking. And on the way home, Mickey says to me, "What you like for going in the pub?" So I'm like, "Yeah, I'll just protect myself before we go in there." He's in recovery as well. And then we goes into the pub. They're not serving food and they don't have any soft drinks on draft. So I'm like, I ain't paying bottle prices for a bottle of cola. I'm going to go to the next pub. So we go to the next pub. But who does God present me with? My daughter. She stood right in front of me, glowing like an angel. Lovely long blonde hair, this big smile. She's like, "Hiya." I went, I froze. I didn't know what to say. And she's like, "Are you all right?" I was like, "Can I cuddle you?" She went, "No, I'm not ready for that yet." And I had to accept that. And it was really heart wrenching. Um, because, like I say, we forget about the wreckage of the past. Look at me. I've got my fresh haircut. I've got clean clothes. I've got money in my bank. I want to cuddle off my daughter, but she's still hurting. And I had to accept that. But this is what she said. She said, "Come outside." So I goes outside. She went, "But there, mate." And God presented me with my grandchildren. My first time I'd ever seen my blood grandchildren was on the anniversary of my son's death. Yeah. Call it a coincidence. I call it hard work and action because that's what I've had to put into this program to get that. I've had to put that serious action in. I had to surrender to my innermost self. Bear in mind, this is the type of addict that's begging outside Greg's with a Costa cup in front of him, no teeth, homeless, dirty, nothing on his feet, in a sleeping bag that's been urined on, yeah, several times. I was a hopeless addict. And within 8 months, God gave me that. Within 8 months of pure action. If you come across anyone and they know me, ask them what my program is like. And I don't say that egotistical. I graft for this stuff. Because if I don't do my daily reprieve twice, because that's what I do, I'm going to be back there again. I'm not even going to get a chance to speak to my kids. I'm not going to get a chance to live. Do you know what, right? Here's another mad thing. I'm going to be a best man in Paris. Or Spain. Sorry, I keep saying Paris. It's in Spain. I've never been abroad. My mum couldn't take me abroad because I'd be rattling my back out, and that's the truth. Yeah, I've got this little scratchy card here. I got it sent through the post. Will you be my best man? And I put it there as a trophy. Do you know why? Because I only met that guy probably 4 or 5 months before I got that. Probably 6. And he said to me, it's not about the impact. It's not about how long you've known the people. It's the impact that the people make in your life. I'm forever grateful for that. I've sent off for my passport. I'm having a bit of drama with that, actually, because I've not got my mum's birth certificate and they need that. What's life like for me today? I think I've just explained it all. It's beautiful. I pulled myself away from my missus. I pulled myself away from my daughter. I had to do that. It's my stepdaughter. But I had to do that. I had to do that to get myself well. I've given myself a year at where I'm living. Fair enough. I'm in a recovery house and I have to pee in a cup once a week and I have to do blood tests. But it's not that that's keeping me clean, because I would do that just to have a roof over my head right now. It's this program, this beautiful program. My books are somewhere. They're all over, sure, scattered around. Here's one. I love it. I love it. This book has saved my life along with God. I never thought I'd actually say that. I go to Unity Days. I've been to St. Ives. This is a guy that's never been out of Lancashire unless he's in a prison van. And I've been to St. Ives. I'm going to, I think it's Edinburgh in a few weeks. I'm going to Inverness at the end of May. All recovery things. Yes, thanks, Paul. I've seen that. My life has changed so much. I should have put my teeth in. I look good when I've got my teeth in. Lee, you've not seen me with teeth in. But yeah, I look good. I've got false teeth. God, my life is brilliant. And it's all down to see her. It's all down to see her. And you people sat in front of me that are listening to me just ramble on for half an hour. But I just want to thank every single one of you for being on this meeting. If there's anyone struggling, I'll put my number in the chat. We'll get a talk. I'll even take you through the book. Thank you for keeping me clean for another hour. Thank you, Bex, for the invite. Lee, it's really nice to see you, man. It's really nice to see you. I know I shouldn't direct it at you like that, but you was a massive part of my life and I vanished, didn't I? But yeah, Paul, thank you for the meeting. Bex, thank you for asking me to share. And everybody else, thank you for just listening for me. I think I needed to get some of that stuff off my chest. My name's Owen, and I am a very grateful recovered addict.